Mom calls at 3 a.m. Son, I can't find the house. Where am I? And in that question, a lifetime is drowned. She's 72 years old. After sitting at the same dining room table for 40 years, suddenly doesn't recognize her own living room. It's not just forgetfulness. It's as if someone has slowly erased it from the family album, starting at the edges. In the morning, she stands in the middle of the kitchen, cup in hand, and looks at me like I'm not her son but a random guest. Excuse me, who are you? She asks, and I can see the fear in her eyes as she realizes something is wrong. That moment is like a knife to the heart. We were all losing it piece by piece. At first it was little things. Forgotten keys, names of medications, birthdays. Mom was always our support. An engineer who raised 2 children. A grandmother who remembered everything. Now she looks at old photos and asks, "Who are these people?" I remember at a family dinner. She suddenly fell silent as she looked at my daughter. "What a sweet little girl. What's her name?" she asked. And this is her granddaughter, whom they had spoken to on the phone just a week before. Seeing a loved one turn into a stranger is torture. For her and for us. The doctor said, "Dementia. There's nothing you can do about it, it's age." But it's not just age. It's a disease that steals not only her memory, but her dignity. Mom started to be afraid to leave the house, in case she couldn't find her way back. She stopped cooking, afraid she'd forget to turn off the stove. Even simple activities became difficult for her. We see her becoming more and more withdrawn every day. She used to call her friends, but now she doesn't answer the phone. She can't hold a conversation. There is constant surprise in her eyes, as if she has woken up in someone else's life. And we, the family, feel helpless watching this. You know what the worst part is? Dementia doesn't just take away memory. It changes a person's personality. The mom who's always been patient has become irascible. The mom who used to love to read now looks at a book like it's an unfamiliar object. And that's just the beginning. Have you heard the statistics? 20% of people over 65 face dementia. Every 3 seconds someone in the world gets that diagnosis. And most people think, it's not me, it's out there somewhere. But that's what my mom thought too. Until out there. Think about it. What if tomorrow you woke up and didn't recognize your own reflection? What if your past starts to disappear and your future becomes unpredictable? It's not just fear, it's the reality of millions. But here's what's most frightening. Most people don't even realize that their current habits are the ticket to the lottery. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next installment. 3 changes that can prevent dementia. Mom sits at her laptop with a Spanish lesson on the screen. The dog Lyra is napping at her feet, and there's a cup of still warm tea on the table. Hola, ¿cómo estás? She repeats, and her face suddenly lights up with a smile. It's the first time in a month that I see a spark of curiosity in her eyes, rather than confusion. Mom always wanted to read Garcia Marquez in the original. So instead of boring crossword puzzles, I suggested, let's learn the language so you can read his books without translation. And do you know what happened? In 3 weeks, she knew more Spanish words than I did in 5 years in school. Why? Because she wasn't teaching for brain training, she was teaching for fun. And pleasure is the best stimulus for neurons. Studies confirm, learning a new language activates the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for memory and logic. It creates new neural connections, just as if you were laying down extra roads in the city. After 3 months, my mom was already watching Spanish movies with subtitles and laughing at jokes I didn't understand. But one language is not enough. The second step is movement, but not sports. Mom was afraid of falling after breaking her hip at age 65. So we started with walking, 20 minutes a day with Lyra. Then we added dancing. Remember when we danced at my wedding? I asked, turning on the old tape. Mom looked at the screen, then at me and suddenly stood up, taking my hand. Come on, she said. Did you know that 30 minutes of walking a day increases blood flow to the brain by 30%? And dancing is even better. They make both body and brain work. You have to remember steps, coordinate movements. 6 months later, my mom stopped grabbing the wall when she went to the bathroom. And after a year, pause. She was dancing at her grandson's wedding. "I feel 20 years old," she said, smiling. But the most important thing was sleep. Mom thought insomnia was normal at 72. "At my age, it's like that," she said. But I found a study. During deep sleep, the brain produces washing fluid, a glial lymphatic stream that scavenges toxic proteins linked to dementia. If you sleep less than 6 hours, your risk doubles. We changed her evening ritual. We gave up TV 2 hours before bedtime. Blue light from screens suppresses melatonin. We turned on dimmed lights and she started reading paper books instead of her smartphone. Plus, warm milk with honey, calcium and tryptophan, an amino acid that turns into serotonin. A month later, she was sleeping 7 hours. And by the way, she stopped forgetting where her keys were. Think about it, 3 simple steps. No expensive drugs. No complicated techniques. Just desire and a little discipline. Subscribe to the channel to find out how these changes transformed Mom's life and how they can change yours. A year later, things have changed so much that I sometimes forget what our life was like before. My mom sits on her phone, sending me messages in Spanish, "Como estás mi hijo?" And I smile, imagining how proud she is of each new word. Her memory is like a fire on the wall that we put out drop by drop. At her grandson's wedding, she danced in such a way that all the guests stopped to watch. "Is that my mom?" I whispered, unable to believe my eyes. She twirled around in a cornflower-colored dress, laughing, kicking the beat with her foot, the same energy I thought was lost forever. "You know, I sleep like a baby now," she tells me over tea. "And I wake up with a clear head. I even remember where the keys to the barn are." And we laugh, because just a year ago she was calling me in a panic. "Son, I can't find my way out of the bathroom. The doctor who diagnosed her didn't recognize her at her last appointment." "If all patients followed your example," he began, but Mom interrupted. "That's not me. It's my son. He believed when I didn't believe." You know what the most valuable thing is? Mom feels needed again. She's helping me with my daughter, teaching her Spanish words, knitting scarves for her great-grandchildren. Her eyes shine like they did when I was a kid. 80% of dementia is preventable. Not cure it, prevent it. 3 simple steps: brain exercises, movement, and sleep. No secret techniques, no expensive drugs. Just the will to live. And if Mom can do it, so can you. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about how to regain the joy of life after 60. If you found any of this useful, leave a comment. Write what you have learned and what you want to apply in your life. It is important for us to know your opinion and get feedback from you. Don't forget that supporting each other is one of the main factors to keep moving forward. Share this video with your friends if you think it can help them too. Together we can inspire each other to make better changes. Take care, and may each new day bring joy and new opportunities. See you in the next videos, with warmth and care for you.